Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. Today I'm going to continue the Silent Night, Deadly Night film reviews from this very oddball franchise. If you've ever seen it, you probably know a little bit about it. Of course, I reviewed the first two films, I believe last Friday, last Saturday, something like that. I'm running behind on my reviews. I wanted to do 2 of these films a week, plus some other Christmas horror stuff this month. I'm not sure how fast I'll be able to get out much more this year, aside from the rest of the Silent Night, Deadly Night flicks. I have a couple other things I want to talk about too, and I hope to get around to those at some point. We'll see, though. Anyway, today we're talking about the 3rd film in the series that came out in 1989. Of course, that's 2 years after Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, or Part 2, or whatever you want to call that movie. This one is Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 3, or just Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, Better Watch Out. This is a 3-film pack with the 3rd, 4th, and 5th movies in the franchise. Of course, the 6th film is a remake from, like, 2012 or whatever it was. But this came out in 1989, like I said. And oddly enough, as this series goes along, it gets weirder and more unique per movie. This is the last one of the Billy and Ricky series, if you will. A lot of people want to negate this one, just like they want to negate Part 2, and so on with the rest of the sequels. Again, the whole series itself is not that great to begin with. I've seen all these movies at least once in my life, and they're not great. I'll be honest with you, this one, to me, the first film was okay. It's decent, it's average. The second film itself is a big letdown because most of the movie is a remake, but the parts that are newer film I actually enjoy, as goofy and silly as they are. I said that all in my reviews for those 2 movies. This one went a whole new route. Of course, this is the beginning of the straight-to-video parts of the franchise. Pretty much every film after this, from what I understand, was straight-to-video, and this particular one is going off on a whole new route that is way more goofy than Part 2, but not in a fun way, not in a so bad it's good type of way. I mean, in some parts of it you could say that, but it's not because the film was intentionally trying to do that the way I think Part 2 kind of is trying to at sometimes. This one doesn't have it doesn't have that Part 2, almost a European filmmaker misunderstanding what the American culture wants type of thing, you know? It doesn't have that going for it. The 3rd film in the franchise is a little bit more just like a bad filmmaker making a bad film, or a team that doesn't care. Oddly enough, it stars Bill Moseley as Ricky. Yes, Ricky survived the end of Part 2 somehow in the most nonsensical way in this movie I've ever seen in my life, because basically we start off with an odd dream sequence. There is a girl who is having a dream. She has brown hair, a very pretty girl, and she is our main character, and she keeps finding this guy with this weird thing on his head. It looks like a dome showing his brain inside of it. Almost like a weird kind of helmet. His brain is exposed inside of this container, almost like that cartoon Evil Con Carne. Do you remember that show? The one that comes on simultaneously with Billy and Mandy on Cartoon Network? That was great. It reminds me a lot of that. And I almost wonder if this was an inspiration for that cartoon to come up with that idea of that bear. Anyway, so Ricky has somehow survived in real life. When she wakes up, of course, this girl apparently is in an experiment for sleep and stuff. Apparently she is a supposed psychic, and during her dream she somehow, by the doctor's kind of pushings, she somehow had a connection with Ricky, who has been in a coma since the end of Part 2, I'm assuming for about 2 years now, something like that. And Ricky's played by Bill Moseley. Like I said, Bill Moseley, the classic Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand Corpses fellow. Bill Moseley is a talented man, and he is completely wasted here. Of course, before this movie, he played in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I think is what it was, as the brother of Leatherface. Great actor, always has been a great actor. This film was a great example of one that should be completely swiped away from his career because it's a crap movie. He has a crap performance, not because of his own fault. He's a great actor. Anybody who knows this guy or has seen his other stuff he's done knows how talented he is. This is a shame, man. It's such a shame to see him in such a bad movie. But yes, Ricky supposedly got shot in the head, which did not happen at the end of Part 2. Supposedly he got shot in the head, and that's why they had to reconstruct his brain and hide it away, since his scalp was now gone, inside of this stupid science fiction dome of his. There's like blinking lights on the back of this thing. It looks like it's not just like a regular old dome like on Evil Con Carne. There's like a battery pack on the back that blinks, and it's so stupid. Anyway, the girl in the main character role is blind, and she's supposed to kind of go on a little vacation with her brother to go to her grandmother's. Her brother brings along a current girlfriend or whatever. And the brother and the sister in this film have a very odd, very sexually tense relationship. I don't know if those two the actor and actress had something going on outside of the filmmaking or what, but they have this really odd sexual thing. They know too much about each other's sexual life. It's weird. I don't like that. It's a weird part of this movie. It makes it very uncomfortable. The movie itself is so bad that it makes you feel uncomfortable. My poor wife came in the room last night and watched like the last 10 minutes of the movie with me. And she's not a horror fan whatsoever. It usually scares her. But she kept mentioning, I don't like this. I don't like this. And I was like, yeah, I don't like it either. And I'd explain to her that there are some movies that are so bad, because she's not the type that does that. She doesn't just sit through something to torture herself the way I do. I'm a completionist. I have to finish things. I hate that about myself, but I am like that. My wife did not understand why I wanted to watch the rest of this, nor did she understand that I did not want to watch the rest of this, because this movie is horrible. Everything from the acting to the lines, dude, the dialogue is so bad. There's one scene even where our main actress is having another dream sequence, and I can't tell in this scene if she's supposed to be blind or not. In her dreams, she can see like a regular person, well, that was an odd way of putting that. She can see like a person who can see anyway, that's not blind. It's weird. But she goes over to somebody that I'm assuming at this point she's supposed to be blind in a dream sequence, and she touches a spot and realizes there's something wet there, and then just automatically rubs it down her face, knows that it's blood, and starts screaming at the top of her lungs. If it's a dream, yes, it can be dream logic. For a film, it doesn't make that much sense. There's some goofy, in a stupid way types of stuff in here that prevent this from really being a so bad it's good type of movie, the way Part 2 does. I enjoy Part 2 to an extent. It's mostly garbage, but it has some stupid, enjoyable things in it because of how it seemed to me like they didn't really understand what they were doing with that. Like they were trying to make something they thought was worthwhile, and it was not. Part 3 just feels like no one cared. Just plain and simple, it feels like no one cares whatsoever about this piece of trash movie, and nor do I blame any of them. The sweetest actress in the whole film is the grandmother that we get to see some of. And of course now, Ricky gets awakened after the connection with this psychic blind main character girl. Ricky awakens from his coma and kills a man dressed up as Santa Claus. He does not take the costume off and put it on himself for whatever reason. He just walks around in some regular clothes and some psych ward slippers. Yeah. I don't have too much to tell you. I will say that the gore and kills and stuff are garbage here. You don't really have much gore, and when you have somebody getting stabbed or whatever, it is on a straight-to-video release budget. So you really don't see anything except from blood splatters and stuff like that. I wish that the finale of this had more tension than it does. It really doesn't have anything at all tension-wise in this entire movie. I'm assuming in their brains they thought, well, we'll have Ricky now shuffle around. They made mention in the film that when his brain was shot, which it never happened, but they made mention in the film that when his brain was shot, a lot of his motor skills and whatever were destroyed, and he slowly gained those back, even though he's been in a coma this whole time. How would you know that? But they claim it did. And now he just moves very slow. He barely talks. He says the main character girl's name, Laura, a lot. And that's all he can really do. He's just kind of a zombie, you know? He just kind of walks around and slowly follows you over time. And again, him having that connection with the main blind character girl, it's like he can kind of track where she's going to be at, and she can kind of track where he's going to be at. And it sounds like it could be kind of a cool idea. If anybody else had this in their hands, and not the toddler who put this movie together. It's horrible. It's genuinely awful. There's nothing about it that's worthwhile. It doesn't even feel like a Silent Night, Deadly Night movie, aside from calling the killer Ricky. It could have been its own thing, as many of these films from this point on kind of are. They're kind of their own unique film. And I'll give that to this movie, too. The music's bad, everything in here is bad, acting, writing, the gore effects, any kind of kills, all of it's bad. None of it's worthwhile watching whatsoever for any of it. But it's at least unique within the series of having this dumb Evil Con Carne villain that looks so stupid. And it was unique for the time, and it's unique for now. Do I like it? No. It's awful. It doesn't fit into Silent Night, Deadly Night. If you had this film being Silent Night, Deadly Night 3 and there was a different killer here, I wouldn't like it either. But it would make more sense than having Ricky, who did not get shot in the head, be the villain here. It just... whatever. Poor Bill Moseley. I would love to see if there's any interviews out there on YouTube or anything of him talking about this horrible, horrible movie. Anyway, Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, better watch out, is a terrible movie. It's one of the worst of the franchise, if not the very worst. I'm not really sure. I'm still debating on what I think is the worst of the series when I do my ranking video of all these movies. But this is one of the rare chances of a movie. Mind you, I'm easy to please. This is one of those great examples of a movie that I am so bored with. It's so boring. The whole movie's boring. It's so slow. I don't mind a slow burn, but this is just a bad burn, really. It's just one you need cream for, you know? if I had to rate this film on a 5-star basis, this is going to be one of the very few you ever see me give a 1 out of 5 stars. It's a bad flick. There's nothing interesting about it, nothing appealing. And again, my qualities for a 2 out of 5 stars are simply have at least one thing in there that I like and appreciate or enjoyed, right? Now, I laughed at things in this film, but not in the same way I laughed at Part 2. They were more of a mean-spirited laugh in this movie, especially with our blind main character, because there's some funny shit in here about this particular girl. But no, I give it a 1 out of 5 stars. I don't enjoy enough in here to qualify it as a 2 out of 5 stars for my particular rating scale. It's usually based on enjoyability factor for me, and that's what I consider with this. So anyway, what are your thoughts on Silent Night, Deadly Night 3? I keep trying to say Part 3. Better watch out. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Put your thoughts and comments down below, guys. I would love to hear what you have to say about it. I'm sorry I'm running late on these reviews. I hope to have all of them reviewed by next week, God willing. I also have the final one, Silent Night, the newest remake or whatever from a few years back, coming in the mail soon, so I hope to have that soon. I'm excited to rewatch that. That's one I really enjoyed. But anyway, from this point on in the series, I kind of have meandering feelings about many of them, some that might surprise you as well. So eventually we'll do that ranking video. I hope you tune in for that. And sorry for the rambling. I just wanted to get a lot of stuff off my back, a lot of little small rants about this horrible, horrible movie. It's probably if I had to say, it's probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, thank you for watching. Merry Christmas. What are your thoughts on this flick and on this series? Put them down below. God bless you. Goodbye.